श्रीवल्लभेति वरदेति दयापरेति भक्तप्रियेति भवलुण्ठन कोविदेति नाथेति नाथशयनेति जगन्निवासेति आलापिनं प्रतिपदं कुरु मे मुकुन्द। जयतु देवो देवकीनन्दनोऽयं जयतु कृष्णो वृष्णिवंशप्रदीपः जयतु मेघश्यामलकोमलाङ्गः जयतु पृथ्वी भारनाशो मुकुन्दः। Wish you all a very happy new year. Year 2020 was a unique year. It was a year of unprecedented unpredictability. A year that exposed limitations of humankind. A year that was characterized by extraordinary and difficult times, where we faced unanticipated challenges, unexpected obstacles. However, whether we realize it or not, 2020 was also a year of immense learning. Some look at a glass which is half empty and become bitter, become overcome with resentment. Whereas some look at the same glass half full and are in a deep state of gratitude. Some may complain that God put thorns on roses, whereas the wise praise God for putting roses among the thorns. Therefore, at the very outset, let us express our gratitude to Sri Krishna Paramatma and be thankful for all the blessings. As we begin another new year, a new decade, we definitely need a mantra. We need a mantra to face unpredictable situations positively. We need a mantra to step out of our comfort zones confidently. We need a mantra to deal with our temptations effortlessly. In short, we need a mantra to master our mind. We also need a potent medicine. A potent medicine to strengthen us endure unavoidable afflictions. We need a medicine to bring balance, to bring wellness, harmony into our lives. We need a medicine that will enable us to experience predictable happiness. We need a mantra. We need a medicine. Therefore, we need nothing short of miracles. Is it a big ask? Is it a big ask? Of course not. We do not need to go far searching for our mantra. We do not need to go far searching for our medicine. We do not need to go far searching for miracles. While we await vaccine for COVID, We do not need to wait for our Kovida. Shrivallabheti varadeti dayapareti bhakta priyeti bhavaluntana Kovideti. Kovida. Who is the Kovida? The most skillful person. He is Kovida. Bhavaluntana Kovida. Shrivallabha Varada Dayapara Bhakta Priya Bhavaluntana Kovida. Bhavaluntana Kovida, one who is skillful, powerful to destroy all the ills of samsara. Bhakta Priyeti Bhavaluntana Kovideti. Therefore, we don't need to wait for the 3 M's, the mantra, the medicine, the miracle. They have been waiting for us. Our Shastras give us all the 3 on a platter. The mantra, the medicine, and the miracle. Shatruchedaika mantram, Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampujya mantram, Samsarottara mantram, Samupachita Tamasanga Niryana mantram, Sarvaishwaryaika mantram, Vyasana Bhujaga Sandashta Santrana mantram, Jihve Sri Krishna mantram, Japa Japa Satatam, Janma Sapalya mantram. Kulashekara gives us this beautiful mantra, Shatruchedaika mantram. That mantra which is omnipotent, that can destroy all our evils within and without. Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampujya mantra. It is that sacred mantra that is given by the Vedas and the Vedanta. The Shastras have given us that one potent mantra, which is the most sacred mantra. Samsarottara mantra, which is the boat for us to cross over the ocean of samsara. It is the mantra Tamasanga Niryana mantra that can remove the dark clouds of ignorance caused by tamas. Sarvaishwaryaika mantra. That one mantra which can give us all the Aishwaryas. Sarvaishwaryaika mantra. Vyasana Bhujaga Sandashta Santrana mantra. The worldly afflictions are like poisonous snakes and they keep biting us. Day in and day out, whether we realize it or not, we are bit by poisonous snakes. No wonder the body is filled with poison. Poison induced by worldly afflictions. Vyasana Bhujaga Sandashta Santrana mantram, which is that mantra which is the sure cure for these poisonous bites of worldly afflictions. Jihve Sri Krishna mantra. It is that mantra, Sri Krishna mantra. Japa Japa Satatam Janma Sapalya mantra. If there is one mantra which makes our life fruitful, worthwhile, if there is one mantra that can make our life worth living, it is that Sri Krishna mantra. What else do we need? What other mantra do we need? Vyamoha prasamaushadam munimanovritti pravrityaushadam. Vyamoha prasamaushadam. That aushada which removes all our delusions. Chasing material goalposts which keep moving all the time, we end up in a state of delusion. We are chasing all the time, wanting more and more and more and more. We don't know what more of what. We are in a state of delusion. Vyamoha prasamaushadham. That aushadha which removes this vyamoha. Munimanovritti pravrittya aushadham. When one contemplates that medicine which can give the right direction to the mind, contemplating on him, on Bhagavan, one cannot fall in love, but one rises in love. We fall in love when we love mortals and material things. But when we love Krishna, we rise in love. Munimanovritti pravrittya aushadam. Daitendriyarthi karaushadam. Daitendriyarthi karaushadam. That aushada, which is a terror for asuras, which means that aushada which is a terror for all the asuri qualities in us. That medicine which is the antidote for all our viruses in the body and the mind. Shreyah prapti karaushadam. Pibamana Sri Krishna divya aushadam. Shreyah prapti karaushadam. That aushada which ensures shreyas, auspiciousness, unabated happiness. Pibamana Sri Krishna divya aushadam. Kulashekara is asking the mind to drink only that aushada and nothing else. When we have the Krishna mantra, when we have the Krishna aushada, life definitely will be a miracle. But unfortunately, we don't get to comprehend the simple truth. There are two T's which prevent us from recognizing this T. The two T's are temptations and tribulations, which distract us, keep us in a distracted mode all the time. Prevent us from recognizing the simple truth. That simple truth that when we have Krishna, who is the mantra and who is the medicine, life will become a miracle. In order to recognize this truth, we need a shift in our perspective. I would call this a shift in the perspective, shift from the Duryodhana perspective to Arjuna perspective. This is the shift that we all need. What is Duryodhana perspective? What is Arjuna perspective? Right at the beginning of Gita, the very first chapter, we see the preparations going on for the war. The armies of Kauravas and Pandavas are arrayed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now Duryodhana begins to count all the warriors and he starts to list all the warriors. He looks at the opposing army. Drishtadhyumna, Arjuna, Pandava, Satyaki, Virata, Drupada, Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kuntibhoja, Shaibhya, Yudhamanyu, Uttamaojas. And he looks at his own army, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Vikarna, Jayadrata, Kripa, Ashwathama. He goes on listing the Rathis, Maharathis, Atirathis, all. But surprisingly, but not shockingly, he fails to recognize Krishna, who is also on the battlefield. Krishna may be a non-combatant, but he is definitely not a non-entity. For Duryodhana, he is a non-entity because he is a non-combatant. So in his scheme of things, Krishna is not even there. He is counting all kinds of people, but the Paramatma is very much there and he fails to even recognize him. So too in life, Bhagavan is invisible. Therefore, he becomes a non-entity for us. Just like Duryodhana, we fail to count him in. Even though only he matters, nothing else matters. Only he matters. But we all have Duryodhana's perspective. We all are Duryodhanas. Because in every action that we do, there is no role for Krishna. He is we consider him a non-combatant, a non-entity. On the other hand, what is Arjuna's perspective? The Arjuna perspective, even though he was initially shaken, he was overcome by grief and distress, in doubt, in fear, he only looked upon Krishna and he surrendered to him. That made all the difference. If there is one thing that impacted the outcome of Mahabharata war, is the difference between the Duryodhana perspective and the Arjuna perspective. Incidentally, definitely we cannot call this a coincidence. Incidentally, right in the beginning of the Gita, knowingly or unknowingly, Arjuna and Sanjaya together call out Krishna, addressing him with 10 different namas. Right throughout the chapter of Gita, the first chapter, until the actual advent of the Gita, which only begins in the second chapter. Krishna's teaching, Krishna is a silent spectator throughout the first chapter. His exposition on reality doesn't start until the second chapter. But the beauty of the beauty called Gita is that it is actually a result of the invocation of Bhagavan's Divya Namas. Knowingly or unknowingly, Arjuna and Sanjaya address him using 10 different namas. Bhagavan's nama is the Divya Mantra. Bhagavan's nama is the Parama Aushada. Therefore, the mantra is invoked. The Aushada, the medicine, is consumed. Miracle has to happen. The miracle called Gita happens. Arjuna's transformation happens. Mahabharata war happens, where every moment, every incident, every event is a miracle. Gita, therefore, is a supreme example of how miracles can happen when a mantra and the medicine are invoked. Therefore, let us relish those Divya Namas that were knowingly or unknowingly invoked by Arjuna and Sanjaya. Tatashveter hayer yukte mahati syandhane stithau Madhava Pandavaschaiva Divyau Shankau Pradadmatuhu Panchajanyam Rishikeshaha Devadattam Dhananjayaha Poundrau Dadmau Mahashankam Bhima Karma Vrikodara. Now, it is again not a simple coincidence that the Gita starts by calling out two very important namas of Bhagavan. Madhava, Rishikesha. Lakshmya saha Rishikesha Devya Karunya Rupaya Rakshaka Sarva Siddhante Vedante Picha Giyate. The Shastras say Lakshmya saha Rishikesha Devya Karunya Rupaya. Rakshakas Sarva Siddhante Vedante Pichagiyate. It is Sri Mahalakshmi together with Narayana who are our protectors. Many times we may wonder, throughout the Gita, where is Sri? Is Bhagavan playing a solo role? Definitely not. That is why Gita begins with address of Krishna as Madhava. This is the beauty of beauties. The very first nama that is used to call out Krishna is not Krishna, Madhava. What a wonderful nama. Ma stands for Sri Mahalakshmi. It is also indicative of the fact that Pandavas are already blessed by Sri Mahalakshmi right at the beginning of the war. It is her blessing that eventually resulted in their victory. It is her blessing that they regain their lost kingdom and wealth. Now, wealth is a great blessing, but blessings are the greatest wealth. And Pandavas have Krishna's blessings. Madhava, a wondrous, wonderful nama. Madhava is one who is the consort of Sri Mahalakshmi. The nama indicates their inseparability. They are ever united in protecting us. Madhava. Therefore, Ma, Sri Mahalakshmi, the consort of Sri Mahalakshmi is Madhava. Also, Madhava is one who can be reached through the practice of Madhu Vidya. Madhava. Ma stands for Mauna, Dha stands for Dhyana, Upasana, Va stands for Yoga. Madhu Vidya, one who can be reached through Madhu Vidya, through the practice of Mauna, Dhyana, Upasana and Yoga. He is Madhava. Ma also stands for Jnana, knowledge. Therefore, Madhava is one who is the Lord of knowledge. Krishna is about to bestow supreme jnana, supreme knowledge. Therefore, it is not a normal coincidence that he is being addressed as Madhava. Madhava Pandavaschaiva. Divyau Shankau Pradadmatuhu. Panchajanyam Hrishikesha. Hrishikesha, the next nama, Krishna is being called out as Hey Hrishikesha. Hrishika Isha Rishikesha, who is the Lord of senses and mind. Not his senses and his mind. He is the master, sovereign master of all our senses, all our minds. Krishna here is going to get the attention of Arjuna, his senses and his mind. He is going to lord over Arjuna's senses and mind in order to impart Gita. Therefore, he is being called out as Hrishikesha. Get ready. Get ready for the Gita. Also, in the process of teaching Gita, Krishna also is going to pause the senses and minds of the world. Therefore, he is Hrishikesha. Who else can pause the working of the senses and mind of the entire world? Only Hrishikesha can do that. Therefore, right at the beginning, Krishna is called out with two important namas, Madhava and Hrishikesha. Panchajanyam Hrishikesha. Therefore, Krishna is blowing his conch. This blowing of Krishna's conch is indicative of Krishna's call of divine love. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna is actually blowing the conch, indicating that this blowing of the conch is actually a call of divine love. And how is Krishna demonstrating this divine love? By playing the role of a subordinate. Imagine the Supreme Master serving his own servant on the battlefield as a charioteer to Arjuna. How else can one demonstrate divine love? This blowing off the conch is also Krishna's assurance. Krishna's assurance is blowing his conch and he is assuring, categorically assuring everyone, not only those on the battlefield, but each and every one of us, that he is available. He is available all the time for all of us. He is available for everyone who needs him. And more than anyone on the battlefield, Arjuna knows he needs Krishna. Arjuna is a great warrior, no doubt, the greatest archer of those times. But he also knows that he needs Krishna. Therefore, Arjuna addresses Krishna and he says, Senayor ubhayor madhye ratam sthapayamechyuta. Senayor ubhayor madhye ratam sthapayamechyuta. Please take me to the middle of the battlefield where I can oversee, where I can look at both the armies. Take the chariot there and stop it right in the middle. Hey Achyuta. The next divine name that is being invoked is the Nama of Achyuta. Achyuta, Achyuta. Achyuta is the infallible, one who does not fail, one who is ever dependable. The irony is that we are all constantly holding on to the world, the people in the world and worldly things without realizing, without looking at reality. The reality is that Bhagavan is holding us all the time. Without realizing that he is holding us all the time. It's not required that we need to hold him. The reality is that he is holding us. He is Achyuta. He is holding us firmly all the time. Without realizing this, we are holding on to the world. What an irony. When we recognize he is Achyuta, then we know that there is nothing that we need to hold on to. Why do we need to run our lives on crutches? Now, Arjuna, in a moment of fear, uncertainty, doubt, he lets his mind overpower him. This is what we see. The valiant Arjuna, in a moment of fear and uncertainty, lets his mind overpower him, and instead of listening to the original movie maker, he starts to listen to the pseudo movie maker. Now, who is the original movie maker? The Sutradhari Krishna was very much there. But instead of listening to him, he starts to listen to the pseudo movie maker, which is the mind. And the pseudo movie maker is a very good movie maker. And unfortunately for Arjuna, at that very time, it only played horror movies. Then Arjuna looks at Krishna and says, Drishtvevam Swajanam Krishna. Drishtvevam Swajanam Krishna. Yutsu Samupasthitam. Sidanti Mamagatrani Mukhamcha Parishusyati. What a sorry state that Arjuna gets into. He says, he looks at Krishna. Now for the first time, Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Krishna. And there is a reason. He says, Drishtvevam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Samupasthitham. Looking at my own kinsmen, my own relatives, all arrayed in this battlefield, ready to fight with each other. Sidanti mama gatrani. My limbs, my legs are beginning to shake. My legs are giving way. Mukham cha parishishyati. My mouth is drying up. And he says, hey Krishna. What a name, hey Krishna. What a nama. If God can be given one name, it has to be Krishna. Because Krishna stands for the one who is all attractive. And what other name suits God? One who is all attractive. We know how magnetic Krishna is. He not only attracts humans, he attracts the cows, the calves, the birds, the trees, the plants, even the rivers. No wonder he is Krishna, the all attractive. The very embodiment of blemishless beauty. The very name Krishna means ever existence combined with Ananda. Krishna. Krish stands for existence. Na stands for Ananda, bliss. Krishna also means one who has a complexion of dark blue color. Therefore, he is Krishna. A very unique complexion. Dark blue color, the color of a rain-filled cloud. Not an ordinary cloud, a rain-filled cloud. Why rain-filled? Because he's always showering delight. Not ordinary clouds. And Krishna also means one who is constantly in a state of delight. He is delightful. He is delightful. He is making everybody delightful. He is also delightful. Therefore, Arjuna is looking at the armies, looking at all his relatives, ready to fight, and he is shaking. Sidanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishishyati. My mouth is drying up, my legs are shaking. He looks at Krishna, who is in a state of delight, with a smile. Hey Krishna, what is this? What is happening? Look around. We are on a battlefield and you are smiling? And you are in a state of delight? Look at my legs, they are shivering, they are shaking. And everyone is about to fight now. There's going to be bloodshed on this battlefield very soon. And you seem to be enjoying, in a state of bliss. Hey Krishna, how can you be delightful all the time? What makes you delightful all the time? Don't you look around? Don't you see disasters are about to happen? Nimittani cha pashyani viparitani Keshava. The next nama, Keshava. Nimittani cha pashyami viparitani Keshava. You are in a state of delight. You are Krishna. You are in a state of delight. But look around. I see only disasters everywhere. There is no reason for me to smile. Nimittani cha pashyami. Nimitta. Here nimitta stands for omens. When the mind is gripped with a demon called fear, men only see omens. Misfortunes everywhere. Arjuna is unable to reconcile what is happening on this battlefield. And he is seeing disasters happening. He is foreseeing disasters. The war is not started, but he's also already foreseeing. The pseudo movie maker is working overtime, playing horror movie to the highest degree, it looks like. And on the other hand, Krishna is happily seated on the chariot. And it looks like he's enjoying Arjuna's sorrow state. Krishna, how is it possible? How is it possible? Hey, nimittani cha pashyami viparitani Keshava. Hey Keshava. Another wonderful nama for Bhagavan. Keshava, one who slayed the demon Keshi. There are many other meanings for Keshava, but in this current context, the one who killed the demon Keshi, he is the only one who can not only kill the demon Keshi, but he can also kill the demon of fear in Arjuna. That is why he is being addressed as Keshava. Hey Keshava, I know I am gripped by several demons, not one. And you have killed Keshi, and therefore you are the one who can kill the demons that are possessing me. Nimittani chapashyami. Viparitani Keshava. Hey Keshava, how can you not see what is happening on this battlefield? Arjuna is not seeing. Arjuna, quote unquote, is not seeing his soul or the whole, WHOLE, in front of him, Krishna. He is questioning Krishna. Are you not seeing what is happening? Arjuna is the one who is blind. But Arjuna is looking at Krishna and saying, Nimittani chapashyami viparitani Keshava. Aren't you seeing all the disasters that are happening? And he goes on and also makes a conclusion. He says, what is happening is extreme forms of sin, he says. He says, Kulakshayam kritam dosham. He says, Kulakshayam kritam dosham. Prapashyadbhir Janardana. The next nama he uses, Janardana. Kulakshayam kritam dosham, he says. Don't you see, hey Janardana, don't you see that relatives are fighting with each other, going to kill each other? Elders are going to be killed. Gurus are going to be killed. Innocent people are going to be killed. Families will lose the people. Husbands will be lost. Wives will become widows. Children will become orphans. Kulakshaya. Lineages will get destroyed. Kulakshayam kritam dosham. Prapashyadbhir. Prapashyad. He also, not just pashyad. Prapashyadbhir Janardana. Pashyad to see. Prapashyad. We can see very well. Arjuna thinks he can see very well. It's like a man wearing dark glasses in a room says, why the room is not bright? He looks around. There is light, but he is wearing dark glasses. Arjuna is also wearing similar dark glasses. And he is looking at, hey, Janardana. Janardana. One who is the protector of Jana. Who takes care of the welfare of everyone. Krishna, you are Janardana. You are supposed to be taking care of welfare of everyone. And you are sitting here and allowing this war to happen. Arjuna is also logically presenting arguments. And he is also using the right namas for Bhagavan at the right time. You are supposed to be taking care, protecting people. You are the protector. What kind of protection is this? You are supposed to be taking care of the welfare of people, Janardana. But you are allowing this war, which is a sin. Kulakshayam kritam dosham, prapashyadbhir Janardana. It is like a man walked into a surgery hall and a skillful doctor was performing surgery, trying to recover a patient. And this man looks at the doctor and the doctor was removing cancerous parts as part of the surgery. And this man walks in and says, what kind of a bloodshed is this? This is exactly what Arjuna is doing. What kind of a bloodshed are we going to witness? Hey Janardana. And he also makes up a conclusion. He makes up a conclusion. He says, Strishu dushtasu varshneya. Strishu dushtasu varshneya jayate varnasankaraha. The next nama, Varshneya, Arjuna uses. But look at the context of how he is using this nama. Arjuna is presenting his case in a very logical fashion to Krishna. He says, Krishna, don't you realize? Look at this battlefield. All the elders of the Kauravas and the Pandavas are there. All learned people who know the Shastras are all here. All the people who know Shastras have all assembled here. Now imagine if all of them are destroyed, who will be there left to take care of Shastras? Who will be there to teach what is good and what is bad to families? And when all the elders get killed, women will get corrupted, he says. He says, Strishu dushtasu varshneya jayate varna sankaraha. He says, if women get corrupted, that will result in destruction of social order, he says. Varna sankaraha. Pollution of the Varna Dharma. Varna Dharma will get polluted, he says. Which means there will be no order in the society. And he says, hey, Varshneya. Varshneya. One who has taken the avatara in the Vrishni Vamsa is Varshneya. Krishna has taken avatara. No, Yadu Vamsa, Varshneya, Vrishni Vamsa. Yadu is at the very beginning, and somewhere in the middle is Vrishni, the illustrious Vrishni. And since Krishna belongs to the lineage of Vrishni, he is called Varshneya. He says, Strishu dushtasu varshneya jayate varna sankaraha. He says, the social order will get destroyed. Arjuna does not realize that the social order has already been destroyed. That is the reason why Krishna has engineered the Mahabharata war. And the reason for the Nama Varshneya here in this context also is quite evident. The mission of avatara, of any avatara, is to restore order in society, to restore order in universe. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. Dharma samsthapana is restoration of order in the universe, order in society. There is also another reason for any avatara. One is restoration of order in the universe, the external universe. Also restoration of order in the inner universe as well, in the mind. And how can order be restored in the inner universe, in the mind? Bhagavan demonstrates various Kalyana Gunas during his avataras. And it is these Kalyana Gunas, experiencing these Kalyana Gunas, purify our minds. There is no other way the mind can be purified. Yani namani gaunani vikhyatani mahatmanaha rishibhi pariketani tani vakshyami bhutaye. That is why Bhishmacharya gives a nama for every guna. And by experiencing the guna, the mind is purified. And how do we realize these gunas? How do we connect with them? Bhagavan himself takes avataras and demonstrates these gunas. They are not theoretical. Every guna is demonstrated by Bhagavan in his avataras. Therefore, here, restoration of order is also restoration of the mental order through where he gives us various Kalyana Gunas. So therefore, the Nama here is Varshneya. Varshneya, one who has taken the avatara in Vrishni Vamsa. Therefore, he is called Varshneya. The end of chapter 1 of Gita, at the end, it is pretty dismal and depressing. Arjuna, the valiant Arjuna, is devastated. He is in a state of shock, anguish, confusion. There is a crisis within a crisis. War itself is a crisis, and on the battlefield, Arjuna is in a crisis. The Gita surprisingly begins with a crisis of unimaginable magnitude. who else other than Bhagavan himself can pull Arjuna out of an abyss of trauma and lead him all the way to the pinnacle of triumph? Therefore, looking at Arjuna's state, Bhagavan begins to get ready. When Bhagavan begins to get ready, Bhakta also begins to get ready. Katham bhishmam aham sankhe dronam cha madhusudana ishubhi pratiyotsyami pujarhav arisudana. And he goes on, stating this, he goes on and then he concludes, Karpanya dosho upakata swabhavaha prachamitvam dharma sammoda chetaha yashreyasyan nishitam bruhitan me sishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Katham bhishmam aham sankhe dronam cha madhusudana ishubhi pratiyotsyami pujarhav arisudana. Two more glorious namas. Madhusudana, Arisudana. Now it's surprising that Arjuna has to call Krishna Madhusudana. Who is Madhusudana? The killer of the demon Madhu. But this did not happen in Krishna Avatara. During Krishna Avatara, Krishna did not kill any demon called Madhu. So therefore, how can he be Madhusudana? Who is Madhusudana? Madhusudana is Bhagavan who took the avatar of Hayagriva. When Bhagavan took the avatar of Hayagriva right at the beginning of the Kalpa, Jnananandamayam devam nirmalam spatikakritam adharam sarvavidhyanam Hayagrivam upasmahe. Hayagriva, a very important avatar of Bhagavan. The avatara to restore the Vedas. It is during this avatara, Bhagavan kills the demon Madhu. Therefore, he is called Madhusudana. This avatara was taken to instruct Brahma. Therefore, the first ever teacher, the first teaching profession was taken up by Bhagavan. He is the Adhipati of Vidya. Therefore, he is also called Vidyapati, Hayashirsha, Vachaspati, Vakpati. The Vedas celebrate him through all these namas. He is the Adhipati of Aparavidya and Paravidya. Krishna is about to give the very essence of all Aparavidya and Paravidya on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So therefore, it is not just a coincidence that he has to be addressed as Madhusudana. He is being reminded that he took the avatar of Hayagriva and gave all the Vidyas to Brahma. It is time to give the Vidya required not only to Arjuna, to humankind. Katham bhishmam aham sankhe dronam cha madhusudhana ishubhi pratiyotsyami pujarha. Ishubhi pratiyotsyami. Now Arjuna is looking at Madhusudana and he says, how can I shoot my arrows? How can I shoot all elders like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of worship? Later on, Arjuna will be told, you think you are shooting the arrows. Neither you are the shooter, nor the arrows belong to you. Therefore, why do you even make tall claims, say Arjuna? Pujarha Arisudana. Arisudana. Destroyer of enemies. Ari is enemy. Arisudana, one who destroys all enemies. He is Arisudana. Dangerous are those enemies who conceal their enmity and gain our trust. The enemies whom we can recognize are manageable to some extent. But there are enemies who conceal their enmity. And on top of it, they also gain our trust. They are very dangerous. We may think, Are there many such enemies? There are innumerable such dangerous enemies within us, our own destructive vasanas, who not only conceal their enmity, they also gain our trust. Therefore, it is only Arisudana who can destroy these enemies. No one else. It is not easy. We don't need to get worried, concerned that these enemies present a formidable opposition. Now, we have even more potent power that is accessible to us. The power of the omnipotent Krishna. All that is needed is to stay connected with him. Many a times, we may not take staying connected with Krishna very seriously. Krishna becomes an optional recourse for us. He is an optional recourse without us realizing that he is the only essential survival resource. We don't recognize this. But Arjuna has recognized this now. Arjuna is confused. He does not know who his enemies are. Arjuna is confused. There are several people around. He does not know. He is confused who his enemies are. Also, he does not know who his internal enemies are. But there is one thing is sure of, who his essential protector is. We don't need to be clear about our enemies. But we need to be clear about our protector. Because it is impossible for us to know and list down all our enemies. Therefore, here Arjuna is clear about one thing. He has no clarity on his enemies, but he has total clarity when it comes. He knows who his essential protector is. Not only he knows, Sanjaya has also recognized this. Sanjaya also recognized this. Recognizing this, Sanjaya declares, Eva muktva rishikesham gudakesha parantapa nayotsya iti govindam uktva tushnim babhuvaha. Govinda. Govinda. What a divine nama. Govinda nama is the most powerful nama. The nama itself protects. When in crisis, Draupadi had only one recourse. Shankha Chakra Gadapane Dwaraka Nalayachyuta Govinda Pundarikaksharakshamaam Sharanagatam. She did Sharanagati to Govinda nama, and what happened after that we all know. That is the power of Govinda nama. Go stands for speech. Gavam Vindaha Govinda. The one who is the recipient of praise. Rather, one who should be the only recipient of praise. He is Govinda. Why? Because he is the only protector. Gam Avindat. Go also stands for earth. Go also stands for Vedas. One who restored the Vedas is Govinda. Go also stands for earth. Gam Avindat. One who rescued Mother Earth, protected Bhumi, is Govinda. Therefore, he is the protector. Govinda nama stands for the embodiment of protection. Go also stands for cows. So, Govinda, protector of cows. Again, how appropriate Govinda nama is in this context of Gita. Sanjaya says, Eva muktva rishikesha gudakesha parantapa nayotsya iti govindam uktva tushtim bhabuvaha. Arjuna gave up his Gandiva and he said, I'm not going to fight. That is going to be the trigger for the exposition of Gita. It is after this that Gita is going to begin. Now, quite appropriately in this very context, the Govinda Nama is being invoked. Govinda, protector of cows. Sarvopanishado gavaha dogdha gopalanandanaha partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdham gitamritam mahat. Krishna as Govinda is going to milk the cow of the Upanishads in order to derive the nectarine Gita. No wonder the Govinda Nama is being invoked at that very moment in order for Krishna to begin milking the cow of the Upanishads in order for us to derive and experience the nectarine Gita. Govinda Nama. Thus we see right at the beginning of the Gita 10 divine Bhagavan Namas. Madhava, Rishikesha, Achyuta, Krishna, Keshava, Janardana, Varshneya, Madhusudana, Arisudana, Govinda. The mantra is invoked. The medicine is consumed. Miracle has to happen. The miracle called Gita happens. Dharma is established. Therefore, Gita is a supreme example for us to demonstrate how any miracle is an outcome of Krishna mantra. Any miracle is an outcome of Krishna Aushadha. We need to understand that Krishna is not just a fulfiller of all our longings. Krishna is no doubt a fulfiller of all our longings. Krishna is no doubt a bestower of all our belongings. No doubt. But Krishna is not only a fulfiller of all our longings and a bestower of all our belongings, he is the very fulfillment of all our longings. And he is the only belonging that we have. That is the potency of Krishna mantra. That is the potency of Krishna Aushadha. Now, as I said, we don't need to go far searching for our 3 M's. The mantra, the medicine, the miracle. We are so blessed that all these 3 M's come together in one form as one M to us, our Madhava. Let us continue to count our blessings and continue to stay connected with Madhava. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.